Let's get one thing straight. If you've ever felt addicted to someone who constantly hurts you, you are not crazy. You're trauma bonded. And wild ones, today we're going to crack that shit wide open. Welcome to Chaotic and Unbothered, the podcast where we own our own chaos. We are untamed and unashamed and deeply committed to getting you free. This isn't therapy, but it's therapeutic. I'm MJ, and I've lived every word I'm about to speak. Today's episode is for the people who are exhausted by love, confused by their feelings, and stuck in relationships that feel more like emotional roller coasters than safe havens. Things that we will talk about will be what trauma bonding really is, why it happens, and we're going to speak on that on a psychological and biological level. How to tell if you're in it. Is this what your relationship is? And most importantly, how are you going to break free? And we're going to do it story first, shame last. Go ahead and get your comfy blankets, light a candle, maybe get an iced coffee, and get yourself comfortable because we are going to get to it. Let me tell you a story. When I was younger, I dated a man that was older. He was charming, emotionally messy with that broody, I've seen some stuff kind of way. He made me feel like I was the only person who ever understood him. And I confused that for intimacy. What it actually was trauma glue. We had intense highs, like lose your mind kind of passion. But we also had silent treatments that lasted days. Gaslighting, push and pull games. He'd leave, come back, cry, promise, and I'd stay. Because part of me thought if I can just love him hard enough, he'll change. But love isn't a rehab center, and you're not his therapist. If you think loving someone means healing their wounds while ignoring yours, well, you're not in love. You're in survival mode. So you might be asking yourself, what is a trauma bond really? Well, allow me to break it down for you like an expert, but in chaotic and unbothered language. A trauma bond is a psychological attachment that forms between a victim and their abuser, or a person who creates repeated emotional harm. And the cycle usually looks like this. First, you'll have love bombing, where they're overwhelming you with affection, attention, and validation. Then you have devaluation. Suddenly, you're walking on eggshells. They become critical, distant, cold. Next is gaslighting, where you're questioning your sanity and your feelings are minimized. Then is intermittent reinforcement. They sprinkle in just enough good to keep you hooked. Next is abandonment or threat of loss. They leave or threaten to, and it feels like death. And then last, of course, it is the reconciliation where you forgive because they need you or finally get it. So you might be asking, why does this happen? And the reason is because your nervous system is wired to seek safety and what's familiar, not what's healthy. If you grew up in a home where love was chaotic, conditional, or emotionally inconsistent, you learned that love equals anxiety, uncertainty, chasing. This is biological. The cortisol, dopamine, oxytocin, your brain literally becomes addicted to the cycle. You're not obsessed with them. You're chemically addicted to the high of almost being loved. Now, let's talk Hollywood, TikTok, and trauma goggles. We've been sold the fantasy, like Chuck and Blair from Gossip Girl, their dysfunction rebranded as passion. Rue and Jules from Euphoria, trauma meeting trauma, destructive, but painted as destiny. Noah and Allie from The Notebook, They were toxic AF. He threatened to kill himself to get her attention, and it's framed as romantic? Now, come on. And we're eating up stories of obsessive, chaotic love and calling it soulmate energy. Meanwhile, we're ignoring the fact that our nervous systems are screaming at us. So, if you've ever stayed in a relationship because you thought, but the connection is so deep, you need to take a moment, pause, and ask yourself, is it deep? Or is it a familiar pain dressed up as love? Now, let me be clear. You are not weak for staying. You are trauma bonded, and there's a difference. And here are the reasons why people tend to stay. Hope that one day the love bombing version of them will come back. Fear of being alone, of never finding that connection again. Shame. You've invested years, you've defended them, and now you feel stupid. Identity. You don't even know who you are without them. And I want to be clear again, you are not dumb. You're just loyal to a fantasy that once felt like safety. And what you mistake for loyalty is actually survival instincts. You are not choosing pain. You are trying to avoid abandonment. Now, let me break down what the signs are that you're in a trauma bond relationship. You feel addicted to the relationship, even when it hurts. You blame yourself for their mistreatment. You keep secrets for them, even when it isolates you. You leave and go back over and over. Your self worth is based on their approval. You confuse intensity with intimacy. Does any of that sound familiar? And remember, you're not the problem. But now that you see it, you get to be the solution. Now that we talked about what some of the signs were, let's talk about how it is that we can break free. And the first step would be emotional clarity over romantic hope. And to do this is write down what actually happened. Don't use any filters, no fantasy. You want to talk about what they actually did and how it made you feel, not who they could be, who they are. The second thing would be to cut contact. The bond is chemical. Every time you reconnect, you re-trigger the cycle. Going no contact isn't cruel, it's your medicine. Step 3, somatic healing. See, trauma lives in our body. So to get rid of it, let's try breath work, nervous system regulation, cold plunges, EMDR, yoga, or journaling. Your body needs to relearn that calm doesn't mean danger. And then surround yourself with truth tellers, people who don't buy the fantasy, people who mirror your work back to you. And then build a new identity. Who are you without the chaos? It is time for you to reclaim your voice, your time, and your space. You don't need closure from them. You need clarity with yourself. So you weren't wrong for loving. You were wronged while loving. But now you rise. You're not here to fix broken people. You're here to unbreak yourself. And if this episode cracks something open inside you, good. That's where the healing begins. And if this hit home, good. Because clarity is the beginning of power. And you just took your first step back to yourself. If this episode cracked something open, or if you saw your story in mine, please share it. Tag a friend, post it to your story, DM it to the version of you who needed this 5 years ago. Let's stop normalizing pain and start reclaiming our peace. Follow me on Spotify so you never miss a moment of truth that actually frees you. And if you're riding with me on this healing journey, follow at Chaotic Unbothered on TikTok and Instagram because I'm just getting started and you deserve content that calls you forward, not keeps you stuck. Say it with me. I don't chase chaos anymore. I choose clarity. I choose peace. I choose me. Until next time, stay wild, stay wise, stay chaotic and unbothered.